这个叫啥名字？Hey Carl, can you hear me?
OK， 可以听到，现在可以听到。你好，
你好，你好，你好，可以听到是吗？对，我可以把您设置成我们的一个 admin 啊，我试一下哈 ，promote panelist。OK， 您现在应该可以有那个权限说话了。
你能不能录音我的 webinar？ 你会录音吗？
我们是在 YouTube 上开了一个直播。
But can you please record this?
Oh yeah, sure. We already opened the live sessions on the YouTube.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so I will be able to see this after it's recorded, right?
Yeah, I think after the session ending should be take about 10-minute processing. I think YouTube will generate the link for could be shared.
Okay, so really we just wanted to make sure that we're okay and we're all set, and then I have to share the screen, right?
Yeah, I can change the privilege to you. And
yes, please. Please do that.
Okay, so let's wait a sec.
Just want to test it, right?
Before actually starting, we want to go for some testing to make sure that it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go there.
All right.
Stop share. Okay, and I can change you to the host.
Okay.
And you have the permissions to do
anything. Okay. One of them. Okay. What problem? What? I have to take what? One of the business. What is top? Okay. They wants me. Okay. Allow panelists to vote. Okay.
Yeah. So I think you can try to start to share your screen for like our current today's.
Well, hold on. I'm trying to. I'm trying to end this poll. It's asking for a poll. Just a moment. I'm going to share the screen.
That's cool.
Let's see. Desktop. Share. Okay. Share. All right. Share. Now, can you see? Oh boy.
Oh, no, I can't see anything. I think you can.
No, I understand. 等一下哈。
好。
We're using Zoom. Okay. I have to give okay. Until it's quiet. Okay. 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 Just a moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a second. Oh boy. Let's see. All right. Well, let's see. Share. All right. I think we're good to go, right?
That is good. That's good.
All right. So I actually have two presentations. As you see, 我有改过那个中国的那个图片呢，国家的图片我已经改过了。Okay. And so this is my first presentation. This is the presentation you see, and I've got some extra slides which we won't go through. We'll stop at 21 slides, but I feel it's probably good to show the second presentation.
Yes.
Which is talking about the use cases. So
okay.
These are kind of cool use cases. Let's see. Just a moment. All right.
Yeah, by the way, I think I remember you were mentioning about want to go for more like communication with our audience. So you want to
Yes, I want to talk to them, and I hope they want to talk to me. So 可以使用中文，没有关系啊，就是可以就是直接跟他们讲中文也没有问题。And I know that that's not very common，就是一个西方人能够跟你的audience 直接讲中文。But anyway, so 这个第二个那个 PPT 文稿 it's about the use cases. How do I get that to, let's see, window, okay, view, full screen.
Yeah, full screen.
There we go, full screen. So I want to show them this also. 这种文件不需要有 NDA， 所以任何人就可以看到。因为我觉得他们会觉得嘿，你的资料好听，但是真的有产品吗？真的有市场吗？ So I talk a little bit about what we're doing, and I talk about the projects that are underway. I talk about one project, another project, another project, another project, another project, another project, cool projects that are underway. And if they want to know more, because this is just 一个图片而已, if they want to know more, I need to see a signed NDA. You see my point here. So I'm very happy to, let's see, how do I get out of that? Oh my goodness, how do I get out?
I think at the very top you can see the maybe your
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Kandala. Let me see. Let's see. We still have about 8 minutes, right?
Yeah, a minute, but I think normally we can wait 5 to 10 minutes before.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
One thing I wanted to take a try is for to unmute all the audience. This is one of my fun action want to go. So if we can unmute them all, and they can just let them to ask questions. We can have a special period, just let them to.
Yes. So yes, no problem. I will unmute. So let's see.
Yeah. We can unmute one by one, but I'm not very sure that how to unmute them all, together.
Hold on, I'm still trying to figure out how to minimize. I'm still trying to figure out how to minimize the screen. How do you minimize the screen?
Maybe going through escape key, possibly.
Oh yeah. 等一下，试试看. No.
Doesn't work? Okay. Yeah, that's.
Wait a minute. Maybe it is. Yeah, it did it. Okay. Yeah. It did it. Okay. So I've got two PowerPoints.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Somebody's asking. By the way, can people in China see this PowerPoint?
I think so. Why not? So, which we want to share? If you share with the Google, like the Google Suite, like the Google Apps, like Google, Google Drive something, maybe not. But if you want to go for like SkyDrive, OneDrive, or even the Dropbox, I think it's available.
Yeah. Well, okay. Not important. So we still have about 5 minutes or so before I think we want to go live before. I think we want to turn this thing on before though, so that you can start to introduce, because I've got a lot of people now asking me about you know, hey, how come I can't get in, or the meeting hasn't started yet, so of course they can't get in.
Yeah, sure, surely they can, I think.
So give me just a second. I've got so many people.
Yeah, I think you can just share them the link, and they can just dive into.
All right, tell me how to. Tell me how to. Well, I have shared them the link, but they're still asking questions about how to get in, or I guess when they click on the link, they're expected to get in immediately. But this is Zoom, so unless the organizer, or the administrator, which is me, has started, nobody can enter yet. So, am I correct?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people, even the webinar is already officially started, they can join anytime during the meetings.
Well, I count 2 participants. I think I can only see 2 participants.
Oh yeah, for now, yes. I think it's because it's not started. I think because we have the schedule, the meeting.
Oh, you know what? I think the problem is, yeah, I think what happened is Zoom, unless it's used for business, China is now banning Zoom for personal. For business, you can use Zoom for meetings, but I believe China is now kind of stopping Zoom for personal usage. For business, it's okay.
I think Zoom already kind of, so first thing, they are not officially getting to China markets. There's one thing. And second thing, I heard a lot of friends actually, they're either in university or in the company, they're starting using the Zoom. Zoom is kind of like a special, the medium that between some big giant company like Alibaba or Tencent. And these are just a medium one. They are never to, you can use this one as a free.
I have a friend, she's asking for a meeting room number. Is there a meeting room number?
Yeah, I already shared to you, I think. So you can share the link at the very end of the link. There is actually the meeting ID.
Just one moment.
Yeah. By the way, can I just reclaim the host, and I can just to go some settings for our today's session?
Yeah, no problem. Just tell me how to. Yeah, no problem.
I can reclaim the host. I trying to say maybe at very start session, it's better to have everyone to have a quick introduction of themselves. That's
absolutely
for those of us to get understanding for our audience, and also it's easier for them to get to know each other.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have 2 attendees joining. I think it's actually going public. I think it works well.
Now, will I be able to see my face, or will they be able to see my face?
I think if you open the video section, I think should good to go.
All right, so I'm going to rely on you. 你需要给我就是所有的给我一些知识怎么使用，怎么开发，and then we'll be okay. I still not sure about how we do all this, so.
Yeah, so mute all and mute all. 您找到了吗？ Have you ever seen the video section functions?
Say that again.
I think starting the videos, right? I think have you found it?
No. Well, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
You can see the sections for the video.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to enable my PowerPoint now.
Okay.
I'm going to enable my PowerPoint. And how does that look? Does that look okay?
Yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
Okay. And I'm going to. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, this
okay. I'm going to I'm going to minimize the screen. Okay, bingo. All right, now we got the screen. The audio is good. No problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're just have you invited everybody in?
I think I think we already have 2 attendees. I think everybody would like to, because we already shared our entry link for our today's sessions. I think you already know the link. So
Okay, great.
There's no blocking issue for them to join the meetings.
And so they can ask a question as well anytime. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. So we can maybe have a start. I think basically one option for them is to raise their hands, and we can see them that their hands raised is with the blue hand icon, and then when you're trying to unmute them, they are allowed to talk. Is one of the options. I think another option is for us is to can unmute them all, and then we can see them to speak freely.
Yeah, I'm fine with any of that. I'm fine with any of that because I think we have a lot of time here. There's 21 slides. I will do a lot of talking, but I will also probably stop when people don't understand something. So I want this to be interactive, you know?
Yeah.
Otherwise, webinars can be very boring. 可以这种那个 webinar 可以很无聊哈，我们不要那个无聊。
Yeah, let me try if there's a way to unmute them all. I'm not sure that are you a host right now?
Am I what?
Host?
I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like I'm the admin. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like I can now make any changes for to all of them to talk.
All right, so how can I give the rights back to you?
Let me try.
你刚下班了是不是？
对，刚刚下班，今天遇到一个问题是。
哦，你在哪里工作？微软是吗？
哦，在亚马逊，在亚马逊。
哦，亚马逊。
Yeah.
You can really help me to get to the right people at 亚马逊。Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 我现在不给你压力，但是现在不给你压力，但是以后 ，Yeah， 因为我们一定要跟亚马逊那个沟通一下，他们一定要使用我们的技术，你知道吗？ Anyway,
yeah, maybe we'll do something similar because for now we are doing is I'm actually coming from the AWS AI team. So we want to combine the cloud technology and artificial intelligence together. Maybe we share some like similarities. I think you are doing something like either in artificial intelligence, blockchain, and also for
we're not. No, actually, we're not adding the AI. It's the cellular module manufacturer who is adding the AI at the edge. Now, Yamashun adds AI at the cloud server side, right?
Oh yeah, we are providing a AI platform and also serving on our AWS infrastructures, so we can provide the AI related. I was also include machine learning related algorithm and so let them to use.
Right, but here's the problem. I could be delivering lots of fake news, and your job is to try to analyze that fake news to make sure that it's real, but you're not at the edge. So if I'm at the edge and I have infiltrated your IoT device, I could be constantly sending fake news, and there's nothing you can do except try to defeat it. But it's constant fake news coming into your cloud. That is the problem. You want to destroy the fake news at the edge, which is at the IoT device side. Does that make any sense?
Oh yes, that's true. Because we are only provide some like basic functionality to let them to more higher like customizable for them.
Right.
So definitely is true.
All right. Well, anyway, please take back.
Already 8 o'clock. Maybe I can just. I think I already sent you the raise client host request. If you can see them, maybe I can just climb them back.
Where did you send that?
As my section, I reclaim the host. I'm not sure what address that what it looks like, but I already sent a request. Possibly you can see that like pop-up window or something mentioned there.
No, I can't see that pop-up window, unfortunately. Just let me escape.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay. Pop-up window, huh? You say you sent a pop-up?
I'm not very sure. I think they have some pop-up logic to let you know. I'm not sure.
I don't see it. You're sharing the screen. participants. Now we have 13 people. I'm not on mute. The video is going. Let's see. Q&A. How did you send me this information? Let's see. You didn't send it via Q&A. I don't know where to find the information that you sent in order to give you the administrative rights. I don't know where to find that.
Okay, let me try again if I can go in there to reclaim the host. View options. Okay, let me try. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I can see admin.
Yeah, I think I click the host.
What do I do now?
Maybe I can just go for. I think it's because it actually is for 8:06. So maybe we can just wait 2-3 minutes until 8 and 10, and we can start our today's webinars. I think for now you only have 11 people in there, but we can wait them about 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me go.
Okay, so I guess you've taken control again, and you need to introduce Seattle Entrepreneurship Club, so that's fine.
Yeah, I think because it's gonna start it. So if you have anything you want to prepare, I can just give you back the administrator permissions.
No, I think I'm good. Well, do I need permissions in order to show my screen?
I can give the host to you if I when I done my part for introduction for the SEC.
Okay, so why don't we do, because it's already 8:07. We might want to start soon.
Yeah, sure, we can start. And let me find out the options. Wait a sec. Because Zoom sometimes is also confused to me. Just when I starting sharing the screen, there is no option for me to open the main menus again. That's pretty.
I'm using so many different ones. I'm using Microsoft Meetings. I'm using WebEx. I'm using LinkedIn. I'm using Line. I'm using WeChat. I'm using so many of these. Boy, it's confusing as heck sometimes.
So which one you love most?
Well, I do like WeChat. It's just simple,
Yeah, sure.
But I also use Ding Talk, and I also use Tencent Meetings. So I'm using everything because I'm working for a Chinese company now. So they use Ding Talk a lot.
TikTok?
No, Ding Talk.
Okay, I see. That's Ding, right?
Alibaba 的那个 Ding Talk.
Oh, Ding. I see. Ding controls. Oh no. Okay, I think it's already X. I think we can start at 1 minute later because you're already 8:07, 8:09.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You used to be called the Seattle Chinese Entrepreneurship Club. Now you're just called the Seattle Entrepreneurship Club to bring in more 美国人, 西方人, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, we are supposed to be, more like general and international vision, but actually we have more like Chinese people in here, but we're still trying to aim for the whole communities and also whole like Seattle areas. So that is why we're not adding like so-called Chinese, quoted Chinese in there.
So I have I have advertised tonight's event on LinkedIn. So I think we're going to have some non-Chinese people listening in. So this will be a bilingual presentation for those who don't understand Mandarin. I think that they'll be hopefully patient when I revert back and forth from English to Mandarin.
What do you feel about that? I think you're...
Well, whenever I'm in China and I go from English to Chinese and Chinese back to English, the translators say to me, Wei Karl, you're giving me a headache.
Yeah, totally agree. I think we can start now. It's already 8:10.
Okay.
Okay. I think everyone could hear us. So hello everyone. So this is Bing Chi from SEC, and which is it's great to have you all to join us today for webinars. And also we have a really great honor to have Karl coming today for today's sharing. And I would like to go a quick introduction for our clubs. And we are Seattle Entrepreneurship Club, also known as SEC. We are actually a non-profit organization established in 2008. And it is by a group of professionals and entrepreneurship enthusiasts in the greater Seattle area. So we want to build a platform across all areas of business and through extensive collaboration with relevant institutions and enterprise to promote the company's talent and cultural exchanges between China and the US. So since we established, Seattle Entrepreneurship Club has attracted and developed more than 2,000 members of entrepreneurship enthusiasts, and for now it's still rapidly growing. And for us, we actually provide a lot of various surveys to help this party succeed. So we can also list some of the things here, like our weekly talk event and monthly panel discussion, semi-annual startup competition, and mentor program for startups. Apart from that, we also provide the partner event and also some monthly roundtable sessions. So if any one of you would like to join us our events and to want to know more about our club, please you can scan and to follow up on our WeChat official account letter which is at the right part of our screen. And also, if you have any interest or want to support us to our NPOs, and you are very welcome to reach out to us directly through our email address at the right bottom of the screen, which is admin@seattlestartup.org. And I think before our started, I think I'd like to invite each one of you to have a quick introduction of yourself, and which may include, and then we can start our today's webinar. And this introduction may include like your basic, your background and your work, maybe also including saying why you're interested in today's topic. And totally depend on your willingness. If you would like to share your background, and definitely welcome to each one of you to share it right now, because today's very special sessions and we move everything online. So if you are interested to say something, I would like to, you can just raise your hand through our Zoom features. You raise your hand, I can just unmute you and you can say anything why you're interested and self-introductions. So
you can also sing if you want.
Yeah, I think you can, maybe it's because the people, for now, they only allowed to raise their hand, we can unmute them.
I was joking.
So anyone?
Don't be shy. 不要那么害羞啊. So I can speak Chinese, and I will be speaking Chinese throughout this event. So 各位不用那么害羞啊，可以讲出来。你有任何问题想要问一下呢，就可以随时问一下吧。You can call. You can ask me any question.
Yeah, you can raise your hand. I think there's a function, raise your hand, and I would like to share, or you can just chat through our chat rooms. You can send a message. We can, if you have any question right now, I can just answer your question as well.
Yeah, so we have a Q&A and we've got a chat section for those. So, well, it kind of looks like people still.
Yeah, sure. I think maybe we can just quickly start your section.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have one chat. 现在还不是很了解，听听再问。Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think
you guys didn't know that I can read Chinese, did you? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can leave this section at the very end of our webinars.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
So, and have a good time to go.
Yeah, okay, so how do we get back to showing my presentation? How do we do that?
Yeah, I can give the host privilege to you and you can share your screens. So
Okay.
maybe I have a quick introduction section before we actually talks. So I think it's really a great honor to have you today, join us today. I think maybe you can give our audience and give every one of you to a quick introduction for what's our guest speakers. I think our speaker, really pleasure to have him to come today. It's a Global Business Development Director of ITIL. His name is Karl J, and he's very expert in blockchain technologies. And in today's webinar, I think Karl is going to talk to us about biotechnology, which is in the full name is blockchains of artificial intelligence of things. And also can talk about this business model and actual finance applications, and also how it's going to protect our digital privacy. And I think Karl had a lot of great insight to show and to share to us today. And really, I bet it's pretty a memorable webinar. And I can for now, I think for the next, I would like to handle my my control and permission to Karl. And please welcome again for Karl to join us today. And I can share the privilege. And okay. And waiting.
Oh, it's down below, I think.
I think, yeah, so I can just go for, first thing I can just stop this sharing and yeah.
All righty. Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Can you share this right now, the host? I already gave the host to you.
I think they can see me.
Yeah, I already gave the host privilege to you.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
Let me see. All right, good. I've minimized that, and I need to move that over there, up there. So let's see. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
I think for only see the face.
You can't see my screen.
Yeah, I think you can select a screen to share.
Okay. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. All right. I'm going to minimize that, bring it over there. I'm going to go back. And how does that look? Does that look okay? Does that look okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Oh boy. I can't hear anybody. I can't hear anybody.
Hey, Carl, we can hear you actually.
Oh, you can hear me. Oh, okay.
It's actually
All right, you gotta say something. All right. So, good evening.
Yeah, maybe just one thing to say. When they raise their hand, you can unmute them. So by default, everyone is being muted.
How do I unmute them?
You can see as right side of the section, each one of the usernames, you can see there's a smaller mic in there. You can click on that to be unmuted.
I see 10 attendees. I see 3 panelists and 10 attendees. I see. So I see so we have a, so let's go to, okay, well, okay, I see. I think we may have to wait until after I finish to unmute them. So I guess they cannot unmute themselves. I have to unmute them one by one. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if they raise their hand, you can just unmute them one by one, but you cannot unmute them all.
Well, yeah, okay. Nobody has raised their hand now, so I'm just gonna keep going on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going on. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Karl Weaver. I work for AI Toss. 各位女士们、先生们，今天晚上好，我叫魏卡尔，我在那个一家公司叫上海魔脸科技公司，我们是一个上海那个区块链嵌入式手机安全的就是嵌入式软件的公司，就是嵌入式软件的公司是关于那个区块链还有那个物联网的技术。So this will be a bilingual presentation. So I'll be going from English to Chinese, Chinese to English. I work for AI Toss. I have a 37-year career dealing in the mobile ecosystem and industry with Asia and Greater China. I've been involved in the Chinese world since 1982. I went to Taiwan as a foreign exchange student to study Mandarin in 1982 on a scholarship from the Taiwanese Ministry of Education to study at National Taiwan Normal University from 1982 until 85. In 1985, I briefly went back to the United States and I secured a position back in Taiwan as the youngest Western executive working in the Taiwanese microcomputer manufacturing industry. It was fledgling at that time. And then by the time I left Taiwan, it was the golden age of Taiwan in 1992. I left Taiwan in late 92. And then I returned to the United States. And from 93, I have been in the wireless industry, first the land mobile radio communications industry before digital cellular. So before digital cellular technologies, I joined a company in early 1993 called Zetron in Redmond, Washington State. They did land mobile radio communications control and signaling equipment. They're still there. They're now owned by Kenwood, but they were an independent company when I was working for them. And we were selling millions of dollars of land mobile radio equipment into China. And I was part of a small team handling Asia and Greater China. And we did a lot of conferences, a lot of trade shows in and out of China. I was in China from 93 up until I left the company. So fast forward, in 1998, I saw that this thing called paging on smartphones was going to be very, very important. And I recognized that my company, that was not the direction or the technology that my company had. So I made a conceited effort to try to jump into this digital cellular world of this GSMA SIM card smartphone technology. And I joined a smart antenna company for a very short period of time. And then I joined I joined a smart antenna company, and I was involved in the first smartphone project in North America on Microsoft's campus in 2002, as a matter of fact. And unfortunately, the company didn't survive. So in 2003, I decided to become the world's first public speaker on smartphones. and I gave my first presentation on Microsoft's campus in 2003, April of 2003 or March of 2003. And then I gave another presentation for a huge China conference in Tacoma. And I realized that I could utilize public speaking. I could harness the power of social media. 意思就是说我可以自己提供很多演讲，然后就可以推销我们公司的技术，也可以推销我自己的我自己个人的那个就是能力啊。所以我从2003年开始变成全球的第一个智能手机的就是演讲者，然后我把就是所有的那个供应的 supply chain 哈。And China, I added China, smartphones in China in 2003. And my presentation was called The Global Smartphone Revolution, China, the Mobile Digital Dragon. So I gave that presentation in Washington State first, and then everyone loved that presentation. And then I got invited to London in early 2004 to present on this same topic. Subsequently, I ended up giving 400 presentations from 2003 until 2008. In 2008, in 2007, I was working for a company called Intrinsic Software on a feature phone operating system. And I was also a teacher at Seattle University teaching globalization. So I taught globalization 1 year. Some of you might or might not remember that. And in 2008, I was at the CTIA show in Las Vegas giving a presentation on the global smartphone revolution, China, mobile digital dragon, and India, the IT super tiger. I was the first person in the world to link these two very important wireless markets. And in the audience, there was a Gemalto executive, and he approached me at the end of my presentation, and he said, hey, I need a guy who speaks Mandarin, who knows the handset manufacturing ecosystem in China and Taiwan. Would you be willing to go to China? And I said, of course. And so I went to China in 2008, and I became the first person to promote contactless mobile NFC payments on smartphones, on NFC designed smartphones, because at that time, NXP had the controller chip, and Gemalto, 中文叫金雅拓，提供就是非接触移动支付的电信卡。So I became the person promoting NFC-enabled near-field communications mobile payment technology to all the Chinese and Taiwan and South Korean smartphone manufacturers in 2008. I rode that up, and in 2010, they asked me to push another technology called the TEE. This is called the Trusted Execution Environment, and the Trusted Execution Environment 就是手机安全的嵌入式手机安全的技术在那个芯片内。Anyway, fast forward, I spent 5 years in China enabling the mobile payment and the mobile security ecosystem, dealing with all the mobile network operators, all the handset manufacturers, all the chip manufacturers, the banks in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. I returned to the United States in 2013 with all this knowledge and technology. And I was very disappointed because America was very far behind China when it comes to mobile payment. So I gave a presentation in November, and I said that Apple Pay and Apple would be the only company is the only company that can enable the real scaling of mobile payment in the world today. I gave that presentation in Seattle. Actually, it was in Bellevue City Hall. The next day, an announcement, Apple Pay has been announced. So it was quite auspicious because I said 70% certainty that Apple would launch its payment. They called it Apple Pay. Fast forward to that in 2000. So I did a lot of consulting at that point in time. Fast forward 2016, I was invited by a French company in Singapore to promote something called eSIM. They had an eSIM operating system. That's EUICC operating system for smartphones. I did that and jumped into another small company in 2017, which was bought by ARM. So I became an ARM employee in 2017, pushing eSIM and something we call iSIM. Fast forward to that. in 2018, I was recruited to promote something called dual roots of trust security for a company called Rivetz Corp. And I was at that job for 2 years. They kind of ran out of funding in beginning of this year. And I was at the CES show and I ran into my former Gemalto colleague, Mr. Leo Lin, who had now started his own company called AITOS or ITOS. And he said, why don't you come on board? Because I need a global business development director, and especially somebody who knows the Chinese world and the Western world. So I joined in February. So I joined this company in February. This is an interesting, small but stealthy blockchain security, software security company invested by Wanxiang Blockchain Research Organization. And so it's very interesting to note, let me go back, previous. This presentation, so this is kind of a little bit of a history of my background. I've been in the Chinese world using my Chinese language skills. 我已经在这个行业就是使用我的中文已经超过3个年代，说实在，我在使用中文。I also do public speaking in Mandarin when I'm in China. And you guys at the CES, you might remember me last October. I presented at your event at the GIX Global Innovation Exchange, and I won Best Blockchain Presentation. I was very happy to win that. It was like only $200, but I was still very happy to win the Best Blockchain Presentation when I was with Rivetz Corp. Anyway, tonight's presentation is called Blockchain Modules with Boat. Now, what does boat mean? Boat is something you navigate. It actually means the blockchain of AI things. And now let me elaborate. But the other part of this title is called Blockchain Modules with Boat, ushers in a trusted phase of AI acceptance in the digital economy. We are in a digital economy. The mission of my company is to build trusted identity authentication and data privacy preserving computational protection. So identity and privacy, okay? And you notice those two words, for all data while integrating the blockchain with the Internet of Things. Those are two distinct animals, but we're integrating those in real time right now. And as an SDK, which is middleware, and we're doing that to digitally transform the landscape. And I have basically put out a quote, which I want everybody to remember because, well, I do give out lots of quotes. I've been a pioneer in the wireless industry for more than 2 decades. So here's my quote: the value of trust put together with all the other intrinsic virtues is worth more to me, and it should be to you. It is worth more than all the gold in Fort Knox. Does anybody know Fort Knox? Fort Knox is where the American government keeps all the gold. You'd be lucky if you could get, 5 miles from the facility, but that's where we keep all our gold. So let me move on. And again, I'm very happy to be invited this evening by the Seattle Entrepreneur Club to give this presentation. We are just starting. Now, I want to tell you something. Lots of people do not realize that you have very little self-sovereign identity on the internet. You have very little control. You have no privacy and you have no security, zero. But it's not your fault. For 2 decades, or at least a decade more, big companies around the world, especially in America, especially in California, have been prostituting, monetizing your data and selling it to the highest bidder for advertising purposes, to understand your behavior. And so you would think, hey, that's not right. But this is a fact. And that's because data is the new oil. Data is worth more than a barrel of oil. Do you believe that? Your data is worth more than a barrel of oil. Oil used to be like $80 a gallon, right? Well, I can tell you, your data as a consumer of a person buying something from Amazon or Alibaba, your data is worth much more than a barrel of oil. We want to make sure that your data has privacy, identity, and security. Now, the Europeans understood that big companies in America, especially America, but not just America, they were basically taking your data and selling it to the highest bidder. And some companies are doing unethical things like selling your data in the dark web, selling your data, a user base, a database of user information on the dark web. This is terrible stuff. So the Europeans came up with something called GDPR, General Data Protection Rights, around 2016, 2017, primarily because of cryptocurrencies, okay? Now, in China, cryptocurrencies are banned. Crypto exchanges are banned. And the Chinese government has a reason for that. It's because people were sending this cryptocurrencies out to launder money, sometimes just to send money outside the country, but also, quite honestly, to do bad things. So the Chinese government said, you know, we got a problem here. So they essentially banned cryptocurrencies, crypto exchanges, and Bitcoin in 2018, late 2017, early 2018. And really because of GDPR, they were watching what the Europeans were doing and they said, we really need to do something like that. Lo and behold, California in 2019 came up with something called California Consumer Protection Act. And rightfully so, because what big companies are in California? Well, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and we have Google. Some of the three biggest violators of your self-sovereign identity in the world today. And I don't mind telling you that because it's a fact. Chinese government came up with something called their Cybersecurity Law, and a part of a bit of that has to do with this GDPR. They have their other reasons as well, but basically in China, when you want to have a credit card or a debit card, you need a cell phone. If you want to make a mobile payment, if you want to pay for things with Alibaba, with Alipay and WeChat Pay, you need to tie that to a cell phone number. It needs to have your correct Chinese name, email, your cell phone number, your Shenfenzhen, your national ID card. It's all for a reason. The reason is AML, anti-money laundering. They want to stop people from laundering money, and KYC, know your customer or know the customer. Now, if you go to China and you haven't been there in a long time and you try to use WeChat Pay and Alipay, you won't be able to until you tie it to your credit or debit card account and you have a valid Chinese smartphone number. That's the only way right now. And that's because of China's cybersecurity law. So you can see, so as I said, you know, there's a blockchain-based identity management system that we want to evangelize for you to take back your sovereign identity, privacy, and security. You can do this, and you should demand this of your mobile network operator, your smartphone manufacturer, your cloud service provider. You need to demand your identity be sacred, and you control essentially private keys. So the 5 most valuable companies in the world today are Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, and Google or Alphabet. Some would say Alibaba too, and I would agree with them as well. But anyway, for the basis of this slide, it's very, very important that you take back your self-sovereign identity. Let me go on. So I have been asked to try to explain what the blockchain is. The blockchain is complicated. It really is complicated. It's not simple. And most people think the blockchain is cryptocurrency. Wrong. The cryptocurrency is nothing but a payment feature that uses the blockchain. It's kind of like using Visa or MasterCard, except it is very, very different because cryptocurrencies are decentralized. Nobody owns it. Nobody controls it. And essentially, that's a key reason why your self-sovereign identity is very, very important, because if you have private keys stored on your Android smartphone, a hacker can steal your cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is part of the blockchain, but it basically uses the blockchain to transfer money from point A to point B as a node. Now, cryptocurrencies use asymmetric cryptography. Asymmetric cryptography has a public and private key pair. It's a pair of public and private keys. It's the private key that you need to protect in tamper-resistant hardware security on your smartphone, in your cellular module, in your mobile apps processor chip, in your cloud container, in your IoT attestation server. You need to take software, especially cryptographic keys, and you need to store them in tamper-resistant hardware. This is very, very important. Let me divulge back to what blockchain is. So the blockchain provides consensus, which means a bunch of different, it could be computers only, but a bunch of different entities agree that this data is real. And that's the key thing about the blockchain. And the number one reason to use the blockchain is trusting the data. You can trust the data. There's also something called provenance. Participants know where the assets came from, how ownership has changed over time. Yes, because the data is sent as a hash into a block, and that block cannot be changed. In that block, you can modify a block that has invalid or incorrect data or updated data, but you have to write it to a new block. So an old block ends and a new block starts. That's the beauty of the blockchain. There's also something called immutability. No participant can tamper in a transaction once it's complete. You can't change it. You can only modify it in a new block, okay? So if a transaction was an error, like for example, today it's supposed to rain. People, Seattle did not rain. It was beautiful today. Oh, but the blockchain said it was supposed to rain. No, it didn't rain. So you have to amend that data, but you can't do it in the block that was already written. You have to go to a new block and say, blue skies, God's country. So, and also finality. There's one place to determine the ownership of an asset or completion of a transaction. This is the role of a shared ledger. So people hear the term DLT. It's a decentralized ledger technology. DLT just means it's a decentralized ledger. Nobody owns it. Nobody can control it. You can only write in a node blocks if you have the ability to do a proof of work or a proof of stake. That's the only way that you can get access. And then you can write what we call a smart contract. So it is the blockchain again. It's a shared ledger. It's appended only distributed system of record sharing across business networks. So you're sharing data. You're sharing it through the internet. The blockchain works on the internet. It's an overlay to the internet, but there's also permissions. So to ensure the proper visibility, transactions are secure, authenticated with cryptography and verifiable. I can guarantee this data is real because we have a consensus. There's also something called smart contracts used very often in Ethereum, but there are three major protocols used today in the blockchain. There's the Ethereum Enterprise Association, their Ethereum, that's Mr. Vitalik Buterin, can't say his last name. He's that funky looking Russian immigrant Canadian dude, but he's very, very smart. And he actually co-invented Ethereum. There's also something called Hyperledger Fabric. And this is something that IBM uses, but they didn't invent it. It's basically the Linux Foundation. And the third is something called IOTA, IOTA. And that's actually very useful for the IoT world, which is what we're in mainly. Again, I talked about consensus. So you might be still very confused. Well, let's put it this way. Let's go through this slide here, where how it works is basically somebody requests a transaction on their PC. But you know what? It doesn't have to be a PC. It can be a smartphone or a tablet. You ask for a transaction to occur. The requested transaction is broadcast to a P2P network, nodes of computers. Those nodes validate it. Now, this network of nodes validates the transaction and the user's status using known algorithms. It's called a consensus algorithm. And that could be in participation with actual humans or just machines. So please understand, there are machines that are already controlling your destiny and you don't even know it. All right, so moving on. when a verified transaction involves a cryptocurrency, that's when it goes, and the cryptocurrency is a medium of exchange. And the cryptocurrency, you normally have to pay a gas fee when you're sending a cryptocurrency from point A to point B, or you're going to buy something using your cryptocurrency, or you're going to write a smart contract with your cryptocurrency. And there are hundreds, and I mean literally hundreds of different cryptocurrencies, not just one. The biggest is Bitcoin, right? That's what everybody's heard. But there's also Ethereum. There's also stable coins, which are very interesting and very reminiscent of what the Chinese government is doing with their DCPE. 他们所谓的那个主权数字货币，就是中国政府、中央银行、人民银行，他们现在要推销他们自己的那个主权数字货币。So it's something called DCEP, Digital Currency Electronic Payments. It's coming from the central bank. It's like a stable coin. 一块人民币等于一块数字货币。So it's like a stable coin. What is a stable coin? A stable coin is also like a Bitcoin, but it's tied to the currency. One renminbi to one stable coin. One US dollar to one stable coin. So, so please understand, blockchain, the blockchain is used by cryptocurrency to transfer funds, okay? But blockchain is used for so much more. My slides will be made available, and I'm going to move on because it's a bit, yeah, let me move on. Today's presentation is not supposed to be technical, but it's a little bit technical. It's not supposed to be all business, but it's a lot about business. It's a biz tech presentation. So what is the boat? The boat is something that you jump on. The boat means the blockchain of AI things. We, my company, AITOS, is pioneering blockchain of AI things to create a de facto blockchain module standard. What's a blockchain module, you say? 喂 Karl, 我从来没有听到这个 blockchain 那个区块链模组没听到。Well, we are de facto standardizing this technology in China, and we're spreading it out to the world. So BOAT is the future of navigating the Internet of Things with the blockchain for identity, privacy, and security. So that's why it's important. We call it the BOAT. I have a white paper for any of those engineers in the crowd that want to get more information. Let me know. Let me move on. So lots of people fear AI. They think, oh my God, AI, the robots are going to take over. Well, they won't if we have ethics and integrity and we manage the AI algorithm. AI is what? It's a software algorithm that helps build intelligence into hardware. That's what AI is. It's software that is used to help build data and create big data in hardware. That's what AI is. And it crunches data, it eats data, it loves data for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's what AI is. Now, AI is used in cellular IoT modules. AI is used in cloud servers. AI is used in lots of servers and also AIT devices. That's what AI is. I explain what the blockchain is. What's the Internet of Things? The Internet of Things is really providing connectivity to multiple things. Some would say robots, some would say machines, but anything that you add connectivity, whether it's 4G, NB-IoT, Cat 1, Cat 4, Cat M, when you add connectivity to a module, you call that an IoT module because it can link all these multiple things together. You can actually say that your smartphone is an AIT device, is an IoT device as well, because I can link my smartphone with my tablet and my smartwatch and my notebook together. I can do that with Bluetooth. I can do that with NFC technology. I can do that with Wi-Fi. I can do it many, many ways. So actually your smartphone is considered an IoT hub, right? But it's not really. Let me move on. So again, I said blockchain promotes a decentralized apps. They promote decentralized applications, which we call DApps, decentralized applications, DApps, in an open environment. I mean, it is open. Nobody owns it. Nobody controls it. Nobody's going to hack it because the nodes are spread out the entire globe, and there's no way to infiltrate nodes all over the globe. Artificial intelligence, as I said, takes your data and refines it, narrowing down, focusing, laser focusing on just the data that you need to analyze a particular thing. Like, for example, how many iPhones Karl has bought over the past 3 years, because I want to sell Karl a new iPhone. I'm eBay, I'm Amazon, I'm Alibaba. I want to know how many cell phones Karl has bought. I want to know what kind of cell phone Karl wants. To me, that's an invasion of my privacy. However, they want to know your data. They're using AI to crunch information about you every single minute that you go online. Scary, right? It's happening. And of course, the Internet of Things enables devices and machines to be connected via a central cloud storage and processing services. The cloud overlays the blockchain. The cloud manages IoT devices. So the cloud is actually very, very important. So when it comes to IoT, you have IoT for 5G, autonomous vehicles, Industry 4.0, robotics, blockchain, I mentioned it, distributed ledger or DLT, DApps, which means decentralized apps, which work in the blockchain, and then tokens. So there's something called the token economy that's going to happen. In the future, your car will have tokens, and your car will pay for things like going over the 520 bridge. 这是一个货币，你的未来你的智能车子会用它自己的货币替你付钱，为了就是过一个边界，过一个桥，你要付钱，对不对？从那个 I-520 you have to pay to go into Seattle from Bellevue, right? Right now you have to use an RFID tag in the front of your car, and it scans it when you go over. I mean, that's 30, 40-year-old technology, actually. So that's kind of cool if you don't know what the future holds. In the future, your car will be able to manage the payment. Your car will be your 手机钱包, right? And again, AI, we talk about AI. AI includes machine learning. It includes big data and data science. That's what AI is. That was long too. So what is a blockchain module? IoT modules deployed on terminals and devices will morph into wallets, and I just discussed that, via our boat. SDK means software development kit. We provide a software development kit, which is 潜入，我们的软件开发工具潜入到芯片到那个物联网的模组内，就是潜入我们的 SDK 到模组内。So we embed our boat SDK into these cellular IoT modules. We're working with 9 companies in China right now. Quictel and Fibercom are 2 very famous Chinese companies that are leading globally. We are working with them. So IoT device management is the result of the embedment into these modules, and IoT device signing of the data on the blockchain is one of the results of this SDK. You're signing data as a hash onto the blockchain when you're using our SDK in these modules. And these modules, where are they? They're always at the edge. They're at the edge. The module is embedded into the IoT device, and the IoT device may connect to a gateway in order to get to the cloud. But it's always at the edge doing what? Collecting sensor data, collecting it, and using AI, analyzing it, making sure that the data that reaches the cloud is more refined. And then you can use AI in the cloud to refine it even further, depending on what you want. And then there are IoT servers that go and pull the cloud, pull the data from the cloud, or through the cloud can determine that the data is real from beginning to end on the blockchain. It still goes through the cloud. All right, so you can see here, a blockchain module normally has an open CPU or an MCU actually, reliable connectivity, 4G, narrowband IoT. In China, 中国就是用 NB-IoT， 中国全球50%NB-IoT 市场就是在中国。It also has AI capabilities and location services. That's your GPS to track where the device is before you're sending the data into the cloud. Let me move on. How can blockchain capabilities be empowered to counter these fragmented IoT devices? First of all, no bull, no BS. I'm not going to give you any BS. I'm only going to tell you the truth. IoT modules' biggest problem is security. That's it. It's always been the biggest problem. The reason is some of these devices are so small, the real-time operating system can't incorporate security because it's just too small. So fortunately, companies like ARM are working on how to improve that with the eSIM technology and something called iSIM. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But let's look at the cellular IoT modules with blockchain. Basically, let's talk about these cellular IoT modules. By the way, they've been around for decades. 3G, 4G, and 5G, narrowband IoT, they've been around for quite some time. These are not new. And previous to 3G, land mobile radio communications, telemetry, SCADA were using these similar kinds of technologies where you pull remotely a sensor to get the data. So this is not new, but they're giving it a fancy name. It used to be called M2M, machine to machine. Now they're calling it IoT. It really is about a machine connecting with another machine, or maybe a human connecting with a machine. You're connecting devices, people, things in wider areas. But last year, there were 300 million of these modules added to the world. They were sold around the world. 300 million. The top 10 of these modules, there's only like 15, but the top 10 accounted for 90% of the market share, which includes 2 Chinese smartphone manufacturers, Fibercom and Quictel. And they had major shares. They're in the top 5, those 2 companies. And we're working with 7 more of these companies. So I want you to think about this. The Internet of Things devices, or a device that's considered an Internet of Things, has to have one of these modules. And these Internet of Things devices are regarded as intelligent robots, and the cellular wireless module is like a mobile phone for the robot or the machine. So think of these modules as like being a smartphone for a machine, not for you, but for your car, for your robot that cleans your carpet, or the robot in the Beijing Shoudu Jichang. There's a robot that says, hello, ni hao, can I help you, right? That's a machine that uses a cellular IoT module in order to communicate and give various commands to the device. So an IoT device is the brain or the intelligence of this machine or this robot. And these cellular IoT modules for IoT devices, they can be construed as giving a smartphone to a robot. So I hope you got that point. Now, Boat SDK, its value is to guard an IoT device wallet. You want security of your 手机钱包. You have a mobile wallet, 一个手机钱包. You need to protect that. Well, you know, the problem is right now with storing cryptocurrencies on an Android smartphone, you have 0 security right now on most smartphones. The good smartphone manufacturers have done something about providing security for crypto wallets. So we believe that these machines will also have their own crypto wallets, and they need to be protected in these IoT modules. they'll have a function for payment, which you may not even be in control of. You program it to do various things. You program it when you park your car, it automatically knows you're at a parking garage. It's automatically debiting your account for the amount of hours you spend in that parking garage. Your car is doing that. You don't have to pull out a credit card and stick it in an ATM machine to get money or stick it in a machine. No, the car is making that payment. This technology exists right now, and it's being implemented in some of the high-end German and European cars. Americans are laggards with payment, but we're getting there. But you can see this functionality. So these connected cars, these smart cars coming from Europe, these major vendors, you know who they are because they're very expensive cars. So the more expensive the car, the more intelligence is built into these cars. They will be using a mobile wallet, and you will program your car to accept payments, various types of payments. And you might think that I'm out of my mind. I can tell you, in China right now, in California right now, they're demoing all of this technology. I saw this technology at the 2020 CES show in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's coming. It's going to be slower than people would like, but it's coming. So with 5G development and popularization, 50% of the world's data is going to be coming from these IoT modules, and it'll reach 40 billion. So that's a lot. It's important for you to know what these IoT modules are, even if you've never heard of this before, even if you've never seen this. Please understand, your future refrigerator and your future smart toaster are going to have one of these IoT modules so that they can communicate either with Wi-Fi, 4G LTE, or narrowband IoT to send data back to a central site. This is happening. Has anybody ever gone to Costco and seen Samsung's new connected refrigerator with an LCD display and screen? So cool. So listen, I'm not talking vaporware. This stuff is happening. It's early adopters who will use a connected refrigerator. I wanted to buy one. My wife said it's too expensive. Anyway, so blockchain offers data protection, data privacy protection inside IoT device modules and equipment along with this trusted ID authentication. So along with the module and along with the ability to make payments, we're giving you the ability to have your trusted identity and your data protected. This is another real key reason for our boat SDK. Let me move forward. Very quickly, the boat SDK is positioned as entry for the AI of things to guard data assets at the source, because the IoT module sits in an IoT device at the edge, and it may have a gateway managing a bunch of these, but it's still a gateway and it's still at the edge. And you got to get that data from the module to the device, to the gateway, to the cloud. How do you do all that? Through these IoT modules and various protocols, connectivity protocols and connectivity sources that are used. So as I said, the boat is actually, it's an SDK, software development kit framework embedded into cellular modules with trusted IoT applications. It's based on two fundamental technologies. It's based on hardware security. We call them secure enclaves, and also cryptography. So you can see some of the boat capabilities here. And on the device, it's secure key generation and usage and blockchain access for our partner in all this end-to-end encryption and security, which is called Plate-On, which is another company invested by Wanxiang Blockchain. And it's a gateway. It's a blockchain. It's a gateway, but it's for blockchain to allow protection and privacy. So I will talk a little bit about technology now. Now we're getting a little bit technical, but I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. So our boat trusted framework architecture overview. This is kind of like an overview. Look at the right side here. You have a module. So that's the module. Our boat is embedded. 我们的软件开发工具潜入到那个物联网的模组，然后我们就是可以分开你的私钥，你的私钥可以分开，然后你的私钥分开了以后，一部分到 这种那个 threshold 伺服器 threshold sign service. So it's a security service to do key partitionings. 我们分开你的私钥, okay? So data generation from this architecture is quite valuable. And our boat consists of a trusted framework. So when I say framework, I don't just mean middleware SDK. It's actually a framework. So it's actually more, it's providing management of the data at the edge with the module. So it's actually much more than just a simple SDK. But it is middleware, but it's a framework and it's an architecture. So the boat consists of a trusted framework at the IoT device side to remove attestations, remote attestation services, threshold sign services, and plate-on blockchain privacy. So the security and the privacy on one end is coming from plate-on, which is our partner. You can see plate-on provides the blockchain node. So let me move on. The second side might make it more simple. So at the device side, the module side, and the IoT device side, we isolate the private key, which is a private key needs to be isolated, and the operations in the private keys go into a 嵌入式到芯片内. So they are embedded into a secure enclave. The application can only call the boat SDK APIs, it can only call APIs to execute an operation. It can never touch the private keys. It's never touching the private keys. So as you can see, it's the module can do key partitioning in the secure enclave. This is all in the module now. It can partition the data, but then it can do device integrity by monitoring to detect suspicious activity and trigger a warning. How does it do that? Well, it's very simple. Well, it's not simple, but let me explain it as simple as I can. When the data is sent into the cloud, the data concurrently is directly also sent from the cloud into the blockchain. And the data at the original source of when it was sent into the cloud and the final source must match. That's data integrity and the integrity of the data. If it doesn't match, it means you have fake data, which could mean fake news, and it means the data you can't change it. So we have a way to determine if the data that was originally sent to the blockchain as a hash to create the data in the hash, the data in the block as a hash, if it has been tampered with or not. This is so cool. You can determine if data is real on any kind of application in the world. It's quite amazing. So I got one more slide that's a little bit technical, and then we'll talk about the business side. So the data flow chart, this is a data flow chart for transforming IoT into blockchain modules. So as you can see, you actually have two flow charts going on here. On the IoT device, of course, the IoT module is embedded into the IoT device, and it performs its activity. The boat SDK in the cellular module helps the IoT device to sign data to the blockchain as a hash. The cloud access for the IoT device has a data lifecycle management. That's part of our framework. So we actually have a management of the data from our SDK with that module. Now, that is very important. Why? Because normally when cellular IoT modules sell their modules to, let's say, a mobile network operator or a big project, that's a one-time sale. Once it's sold, they have very little involvement in the project. In fact, in many instances, the project managers of these pseudo private or secret projects, there's no way for the module manufacturer to know what these devices are being used for in many instances. Now you have a way, because you can create data services and the lifecycle management of that module with our boat SDK. So the module vendor now gets to play a bigger role. So you module vendors out there, you know who you are. Please talk to us. So as you can see, The data gets sent into the cloud, a public or a private cloud. You have a cloud server, and then it gets sent into an application server. You might call it an IoT application server, where IoT applications are polling, sending things back into the cloud to learn what the IoT device is doing, or to get data from the IoT device. They're using the cloud with their server software and their server to constantly access and refine the data that they're receiving. They want the most accurate data. What we do is we allow, at the IoT server side, we allow the database manager or the system to access the blockchain to determine if the data is real. That's the key value of the blockchain. Is it real? We can tell if it's real or not. We can tell. So as you can see here, you have edge hardware, sensors, modules, gateway, and then you have the cellular connectivity side sending the data into the cloud. So you have software and cloud, and then you have applications and services. So at the extreme right side, that's where you monetize the blockchain, because data has value if it's trusted. It can be monetized. If you can't trust the data, it can't be monetized because nobody will believe it. Let me go on. Okay, so we're back now. Now that's the end of the technical stuff. Now we're back into talking the business of IoT and blockchain. So our boat ecosystem, we work with lots of trusted services and vendors in China, and we're starting to work with those vendors around the world, from China to the rest of the world. We work with blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and smart contracts. Our SDK is called the boat. We can provide KYD, KYC, key management services. So it really is a framework and not just an SDK. So we can turn over the management of that to the module vendor, to the project manager on the IoT project, to the mobile network operator, to the cloud service provider. That's very, very cool. We're allowing multiple new use cases, because the only way to determine if the data is real is to catch it at the edge of the sensor collection side. That's the only way. Excuse me. So we work with, these are the 9 cellular IoT module vendors that we work with. So the module vendors buy the baseband chip from companies like Qualcomm, MediaTek, USOC, I think this is a new name. It's a new company. It's the former Jianxun company that has merged and has created new technology, new 5G modules. And we also work with HiSilicon. So those guys make the baseband. So we're working with the cellular module vendors, but also the baseband vendors, because the baseband vendors sell their baseband chips to the cellular module vendors. And that's how it works, especially the modem. You need to have the modem coming from one of the baseband chip vendors. Let me go on. So this is a strategy to reach massive fragmented IoT device makers via blockchain and IoT module adoption. So we call it go to government business, to business, and to consumers. So we can reach this massive fragmented IoT device maker market because it is fragmented. You can see there are 9 Chinese cellular module vendors. There's about 15 in total. There's about, there's 9 major ones. There's some other minor ones. There's a few American module vendors, but they're not quite famous. There's also European cellular module vendors, Telit, Sierra Wireless, uBlocks. Those are some of the more famous European cellular module vendors, and you can find their products also all over the world. There's really only 15 companies in the world, and it's rather fragmented. So, how do you reach a massively fragmented IoT market? Via blockchain IoT modules, and we can do that by enabling these verticals in this digital transformation, which I talked about. We're all sitting here at a computer. This is digital transformation. We're not talking to people in an office right now. Most people are not. So there's a digital transformation going on, but that's why trusted data is all the more important. So as you can see here with government, it could be power metering, water metering, with our technology at the source of these water meters, you can test the data, you can collect the data, you can manage that data so much more easily. Fire hydrants, smoke detectors, those are in buildings, of course, those would be under the guise of a government type application. Now for business, well, you have smart locks in homes, you have industrial usage in factories and warehouses where the IoT modules are collecting data of your inventory. You want to tally the data of that inventory. And there's also buildings like, how about nuclear power plants? You certainly need IoT modules there to monitor the health of the nuclear power plant. And then of course we've got consumer things, a lot of wearables, consumer electronic devices, a lot of wearables. I don't just mean watches, I mean clothing, right? So there's lots of use cases. Now you might think, can I get an IoT module in a pair of socks? Actually, yes, you can. In the future, when you go to the Men's Warehouse and order your suit, if you go to the Men's Warehouse, you might be able to add additional things to that suit. You might be able to add Bluetooth, NFC, and Wi-Fi to the suit. And you might laugh and think, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy, because they're adding that technology right now. And who is buying that technology? Sports professionals to upgrade their endurance and performance. It's happening right now. So December of 2019 in Nanjing, we created the first blockchain module alliance with these 9 cellular IoT module vendors. And we did that with China Unicom and Wanxiang Blockchain. So we now have an alliance of 9 members, and they have either already ported our boat SDK into their modules, or they're in the process of porting as we speak. As I said, QuickTel and Fibercom are 2 top companies, but you can see the list here. There's a bunch of well-known companies here. China Unicom and Wanxiang Blockchain also created an IoT and blockchain joint innovation center. So that's also very, very cool. They did that back in June. So this is also very, very interesting, and it tells you that major mobile network operators in China are adopting in their national roadmap our technology. It's happening. Oops, what's going on there? Don't know what happened. Let me go on. All right. Self-driving vehicles and sharing economy. So I talked about self-driving vehicles. I talked about how China's leading. China's doing other cool things, and we're involved in some of these cool projects. Let me go back. So in China, they have something called XID, which is taking the EID from your smartphone, which allows you to take your 身份证，你可以扫你的身份证在你的手机上。Huawei smartphones, Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo, they allow you to scan your 身份证 into your smartphone. So you can actually, in the future, you can actually pull out your smartphone instead of pulling out your 身份证. You know how in China, people have to always pull out their 身份证. If you're a Laowai, you have to pull out your passport. Wow, 麻烦极了, right? 非常麻烦。你必须要拿出来你的护照，或者你的身份证。如果你要购买那个飞机票，如果你要购买那个火车站票，你一定要拿出来你的身份证，很麻烦。So in China, they've created something called EID, but we're incorporating something called XID, which is combining the EID from the smartphone with the VID from the car. So in China, they've created a vehicle ID. We're taking them with our technology, with the boat, and we're combining them together. Why are we doing that? We're doing that because the future is a sharing economy. What do I mean by that? I mean autonomous vehicles. I mean, in the future, these vehicles will basically be driverless. Your Uber or Lyft or Didi Kuaidi, Didi Zhongxin, right? You will call them. You will not have a human being. You will need to be able to make a payment in order for them to come and pick you up. But the companies that own these businesses have to be monitored that their business is running properly, because, as you know, some of these car sharing or ride sharing vehicles in China have had problems, right? Especially with women at night, with security, it's a big problem. Well, in the future, your vehicle ID and your personal national ID card on your smartphone will be paired as soon as you get into the car, as soon as you use those services. And it'll also be posted immediately into the blockchain. So it will be immediately tracked into the blockchain, and everybody can monitor that. And the reason why that's important is because these kinds of businesses in the future will use the blockchain, because banks, car companies, Internet of Things companies, insurance companies, they will all be involved in determining these car sharing and these sharing economies. How about Mobike and Ofo, right? These bike sharing companies. Well, these bike sharing companies didn't do a good job. They grow so fast, and you see these bikes being shared and being thrown all over the side of the road. This is terrible. So in the future, they'll be able to monitor you. You need to be very careful how you manage the bike, because if you destroy these bikes in the future, they have your credit card details, your debit card details. They will debit your account. They will be able to determine who was the last one who's used this bike and destroyed it, because it'll all be attested on the blockchain from the IoT. Your Mobike uses an IoT module right now. It's usually using a 2G module right now and GPS. They know right now, they have an idea whose smartphone was used, and they're tracking it. So please understand, you need to give these bicycles tender loving care in the future. Okay, just letting you know. And it's the same with these future autonomous vehicles. And it's an interesting thing that all the smart car companies in the world today are preparing for this whole autonomous vehicle market. Some European companies, I think it's BMW or Mercedes, they have autonomous function in their cars already. So it's very, very interesting. It's coming. We move forward. We're almost at the end now. So this is our roadmap, and from the end of 2019 on, these are all the cool things we've done. We're supporting our modules with lots of vendor partnerships, continuing. We're looking for lots of Western vendors to join, to jump on board our boat. Vertical use cases are essential pieces of the proof of concept. After this presentation, I will go by 9 proof of concepts that are being implemented right now in China, because I know you're listening to this presentation and you're thinking to yourself, this is all just theory. It is not. This is actually happening right now in China. On the blockchain server side, we are now fully supported by Plate-On's network. And we're launching something called 3C Odyssey Plan. That's down the road. But as you can see, these virtual use cases, these proof of concepts, I will show you another PowerPoint very quickly of these use cases, because I know that you want to see that. We've partnered with Lenovo, Lianxiang. Lenovo Connect is an MVNO for IoT services. So it's not for smartphones, it's for IoT services, and they're big in Europe, and they're coming to North America. We've partnered with them to take any one of the module vendors that we're working with that they want to work with to provide projects and services with the cloud platform, IoT devices, and the blockchain. So we're looking for you, mobile network operators, to work with us, because we're working with MVNOs who want to use IoT and combine all this technology. The key point for us is we need to work with mobile network operators, and they need to know how important, they need to understand literally how important this technology is. I think at this point in time, it's still a situation where it's deer in the headlights. They kind of understand, but they don't see the value because they don't see the use case. I will show you 9 use cases in 1 minute. So let me summarize. The blockchain plus the IoT of things, it's all about trusting the data. Data collection relies on the IoT modules and the technology. So data is collected, selected, integrated, sliced, diced, peeled, whatever you want to call it. And a massive amount of this big data is being it's being refined by big data using artificial intelligence. And it's being done at the cellular module side. It's being done at the cloud side. That just provides more and more security, but it needs to be done on both sides. You need end-to-end encryption and security. Data is only valuable when it is exchanged through the blockchain via a distributed ledger with cryptography and certificates. That's when data gets monetized and has value. Before that, not much value because you can't monetize it. You don't know if it's real. It could all be fake. So as I said, data is like oil, but that data needs protection in the open source world. Blockchain attestation helps this data become real and intended. The key is intended. I'll just give a very brief explanation of how it works. So step 1, you collect the data from the sensor. The data is collected into the IoT device. Then you use our boat SDK to sign the data as a hash. The hash is sent into the blockchain. That data is sent as a hash into the blockchain. Our boat sends this resultant signaling, this resultant hash key into the blockchain. And when a third-party consortium, enterprise consortium usually, wants to determine, hey, is this hash key result real? Is this data real or is it fake? They can compare if the previous data hash key result matches the current hash key result because it's simultaneously being sent to the cloud and sent to the blockchain at the same time. So if there's been any interruption, any man-in-the-middle attack, you know, because the data has, you know if the data has been tampered. And I mean all kinds of data. So this is how you can determine if the data is immutable on the blockchain. It is so, so cool. Now, you can find 18 different our company on Medium. I want to go to one more PowerPoint here showing use cases, because I think this is very, very important, because I think it's important for you to understand this. Now, let me go and get to full screen. Here we go. So this is the non-NDA version of our boat use cases. So we're a leading global blockchain and IoT community ecosystem of vendors. We're working with many vendors, but specifically with China Unicom and with Wanxiang Blockchain, we have projects going on right now. Here are some of the vendor project cooperation plans that we can announce to the world. Now, I have a NDA version that gives you much more information about these 9 use cases. Let's take the first one, Thundersoft. It's a very famous embedded software company in China. What are they doing? Warehouse receipt assurance and blockchain safety. Nubaru is another company. They're securing access for VR and HR with the blockchain. InGeek is a famous company, trusted in-person card digital key solution in China right now. There's another company called Orivol, data on chain-based warehouse management for industry terminals. A-Cloud, supply chain asset management and cross-border logistics tracking, like on a railway train. Autolink, vehicle driving data on-chain storage certificate. ABUP, IoT-enabled OTA, over-the-air enabled terminal and blockchain integration. in hand, distributed intelligent distribution network, M2M motive, UBI data on chain based on T-Box auto insurance financial innovation. Here's one use case, Thundersoft, warehouse receipt asset assurance blockchain safe. That is a gateway with an IoT module and it's a gateway with an IoT device that is using our technology right now. Here's the second one, secure access with trusted virtual reality and augmented reality. You want to make sure that when you're in the virtual world, looking at all this stuff, that it's real. That's not fake. You need to know that. Smart car sharing, smart contract based on trusted person to car digital identity. That's the sharing case I mentioned. That is using our technology in one of these UBI diagnostic dongles that it's inserted into your car. T-Mobile has one of these. Anybody from T-Mobile listening? Intelligent logistics terminal. This is a handheld logistics terminal for merchandising, and it's based on blockchain technology to realize safe and reliable trackable logistics. You can determine where all these packages are, where they've gone to with our technology, with our technology in one of these terminals. It's a handheld terminal. It's a smartphone. It's a handheld smartphone. That's it's a point of sale device. It's a merchandise tracking device. It's an all-in-one smart device. Cross-border logistics management based on blockchain. This is where I mentioned that our technology is in a smart lock, and that smart lock is locking freight containers with our technology. So if you break the lock, we know it's all sent to the blockchain, sent to the cloud and then to the blockchain. We know if these shipping containers have been tampered with. A residential value management platform with built-in car wallet in the blockchain. There you go. I talked about this. There's one company that we're working with. It's called AutoLink. They're doing that now. FOTA is over-the-air enabling of IoT terminals. So they provide the over-the-air services, which you need for many of these applications. So you need to manage and send data and enable these devices in the field. Distributed intelligent power station distribution run on secure blockchain. This is kind of a device that goes into a factory or a warehouse or on a electric grid station like that, monitoring. UBI data, which I mentioned before. This is a T-Box or something like a T-Box. And it actually, our SDK and the IoT module actually go inside there, and that's embedded into the hub of the car, and that's providing all your intelligence, 4G connectivity, even your Wi-Fi, and doing all these cool things so that one vehicle can communicate with the other vehicle. Very cool. So that's it. Okay, there we go. That is it. And that is the end of my presentation. And now I would like to take calls. Let me see. Okay, we have one question. How can you see my message? Holly Zhang, I cannot see your message. So I cannot see your message, but I can tell you that if you want to send me an email, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email. You can find my details from the Seattle Entrepreneurship Club as well, and you can send me an email. I'll be very happy to answer your question. And let's see, we have 14 participants. I see Changling, I'm going to enable. Okay, Changling, how can I help you? Can you hear me? Zheng Lian, sorry. Zheng Lian, can you hear me?
Yeah, 你能听见我说话吗？
能够听到。
OK， 好，哎，你看你讲的非常好哈，非常感谢你呢。在这个里边我在想，就是它这个 IoT，因为我们不是很熟悉这个东西，都知道。那么你们跟这个 IoT， 他们这么多厂商，这么多人，你们怎么能够跟他们去 reach out 他们的那边那些公司呢？
很简单，我跟我的董事长跟我的那个 CEO 和我董事长，我们以前在同样公司叫金亚拓。金亚拓是全球那个安全的，就是全球可以算是全球安全的公司。Gemalto 我们本来在 Gemalto， 我本来在推销手机支付、手机安全的技术，但是我现在的董事长，我们以前是同事，不一样的行业，不一样的那个部门，他已经从2011年。他是在这个物联网行业，在中国他是很有名，所以他已经有跟所有的运营商有关系，所有的那个模块那个防握模组公司有关系，跟所有的那个就是潜入式公司有关系，他的关系已经很深刻，就对了。
好，谢谢的，
不客气。Let me see if there's anybody else. So now you guys know I can actually speak Chinese. Let's see, we have another one. We have Mr. Wenbao Jiang. 张帅哥你好。Wenbao你好。
Hi.
Hey, 你好。
Yeah, hi. Nice presentation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know that Facebook is doing a project. And they change the name. How do you think about that? From my understanding, U.S. government and North government will not allow such thing to happen. They don't allow people to use blockchain to make payments because it might help some people to do money laundering and make the government's job harder.
Yes.
How do you look at Facebook's project?
Okay, so you're talking about Libra and Calibra.
Yeah, they changed the name. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I am the only person in the world who gave 3 presentations in China in 2019 talking about China's sovereign digital currency. And I also talked about Libra and Calibra. So here's my summary. I made these summaries last year. I knew that Zuckerberg was not going to win this ball game because nobody trusts him, number one. Number two, the companies that he brought on board, 32 particular companies, none of them were security companies or hardware technology companies, not one. And that is the biggest problem with so-called digital currency or DCEP in China, DCEP. That's the biggest problem. The problem is that if it's going to be decentralized, like cryptocurrency, and if there's no way to protect the private keys on these smartphones, it's never going to work. And the Chinese government knows this. That's why they banned cryptocurrencies. Now, Zuckerberg, I believe, understands the problem. I said last year, the smartest thing that Facebook could do was to do the same thing that WeChat Pay and Alipay were trying to do, which is what? Take this DCEP or this government-controlled currency and add it to their wallet. But right now, I don't believe the Chinese government will allow WeChat Pay and Alipay to control this DCEP. They will get to use it. They will not control it because the technologies that they're using are third-party payment platforms which are not safe and not secure. Even though on the back end, the technology from China Union Pay is safe and secure, these companies will be severely limited promoting DCEP. It will be controlled by the government because they're concerned about money laundering. Now, Facebook, I believe what they will do is they will take their WhatsApp and they will add payment to WhatsApp, which is the smartest thing they could ever do. Trying to have this consortium without the security, without with just credit card companies, it was bound to fail. However, if they supply an SDK for WhatsApp Pay and a stable coin and pitch that to the smartphone manufacturers to embed the technology in tamper-resistant hardware security, that is a very good strategy that will work, because that is what China has done with China Union Pay, Huawei, banks, and smart card and semiconductor chip manufacturers. That's what China has done. And that's what China will use. They will roll out these technologies. So Chinese government understands that there's no security on Android smartphones. There's no security to protect these private keys. So what they've done is they've provided security and management and control of digital currency. So this Chinese DCEP is just digital currency, but it's controlled by the government. What Zuckerberg tried to do was provide a digital currency, not controlled by the government, but controlled by 32 companies in Switzerland. That is bound to fail. However, if Zuckerberg took WhatsApp and made it WhatsApp Pay and used the stable coin and combined the stable coin with the US dollar, I believe the US government will appreciate that more. That's what I think. Do you understand me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. That's very nice. 3 more questions. Follow up.
So hold on before I continue. If you want to see those 3 presentations I gave in China last year, I gave one in Qingdao in September. I gave one in Hangzhou during the key 1,000 talents thing in November, and I gave one in Shenzhen also in November. They're all up on YouTube, and they're also up on Youku. 如果你能够查询 Youku 网站，查询魏卡尔我的中文名称，然后你就可以看到那3个那个演讲。It might give you some ideas. So, okay, go on with your additional questions.
Actually, you answered one of my questions already. That's what I would ask. 2 more questions. Yeah, now. Have you passed your opinion to Mark Zuckerberg? He would appreciate that. He would appreciate your input.
Well, I've been speaking Chinese almost before he was born. I don't trust the guy. I think he's a techie, geeky software guy, and I wouldn't trust him with my life. I don't trust lots of technology people. This is my own personal belief. My personal belief is different than other people. My personal belief is technology won't save your soul. And that's maybe a little bit too heavy on personal faith philosophy. But I believe those people who depend completely and totally on technology are in for a sad life. I don't believe that you can trust Mr. Zuckerberg. I've been speaking Chinese longer than he has. I've been speaking Chinese since 1982. I don't even know if he was born in 1982, but I've been speaking Chinese and dealing with the Chinese world. And I can tell you, I always tell the truth. I think Zuckerberg is a phony, quite honestly. That's my humble opinion. I hope I don't get sued by him, but I have to be honest. I'm always honest. What is your next question?
Gather your opinion. Don't worry. I don't think he will sue you. Maybe just give it a try. Tell him what do you feel about the project. Giving so much money would be invested in that. I think he will not ignore your opinion.
I believe that he knows he has no chance to get any of his technologies in China. I believe he's smart and he knows that. So what he's going after is India, because India will be a huge market, and it's less tapped, but it has a huge resource of people wanting to buy things. I gave a presentation in 2006 in Los Angeles Convention Center, as I said, called The Global Smartphone Revolution, China, the Mobile Digital Dragon, and India, the IT Super Tiger. I predicted that these two countries, China and India, would be number one and number two, the largest competitors to the United States, way back when. And I believe Zuckerberg already realizes there's no hope in China. So I believe he's gone into India, and I think he sees that there's hope in India. So maybe we see Zuckerberg speaking Hindi. I already understood that ball game, and I started learning Hindi way back in 2001 because I have a history with India as well. I recognize these things before most other people. I'm not sure if that answers the question.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yes. Second question, you mentioned there's no privacy if people store the digital money. I did not capture that completely. If I understand correctly, you are saying the digital money is not safe on a mobile phone. If that's true, why? Is this question answered in one of your 3 presentations in mainland China you just mentioned?
Yes, and I'll explain it very simply. On an Android smartphone, on many Android smartphones, there's no SDK to take the crypto wallet private key and store it inside a tamper-resistant secure enclave. Apple provides an SDK for any crypto wallet software company that wants to use the SDK to protect the private keys that are stored inside the crypto wallet on the smartphone from Apple. Samsung does the same thing, and so Samsung has very good security. Huawei is also doing the same thing, and they're doing that in collaboration with China UnionPay because they want to push the Chinese government, the Chinese banks, the smart 所有的那个智能投资公司 or 投资公司 they all want to take back this contactless mobile NFC payment market from Alibaba and Tencent. Alibaba and Tencent devastated the Chinese banking ecosystem. Let's be honest. They have devastated the technologies that I helped to install in China and helped to evangelize in China from 2008 until I left in 2013. When I left, I warned China UnionPay and I warned the smartphone vendors that these two companies could scale. And so you need to build up the relationship for contactless mobile NFC technology between the bank and the mobile network operator, because we were pushing something called the SWP NFC SIM card. As it is, what happened later on is with Android operating system, you could you had something called HCE NFC, host card emulation NFC. But the problem remains. Anything that you store on an Android smartphone is not safe and can be hacked and infiltrated. So if you're storing private cryptographic keys on an Android smartphone, and if you're not taking those private keys and securely storing them in a secure enclave in the hardware, you're going to have huge problems. China UnionPay knows that. Huawei knows that. And so Huawei has done something about that. Xiaomi knows that. So they provided the capability to provide your payment credentials stored inside a secure enclave from software embedded into hardware on their smartphones. Apple has done that. Samsung has done that. Huawei has done that. Xiaomi has done that. I think Vivo and Oppo have also done that. That is the answer to your question. It doesn't matter if it's DCEP. It doesn't matter if it's a cryptocurrency or if it's Apple Pay. You need to take the payment credential data and store it in a secure enclave so the hackers don't infiltrate that secure enclave on a smartphone.
Thank you. If nobody else have a question, I have another one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
One more. Just
sure.
one more.
Last one. I know one of my previous colleague, startup company, they use blockchain to do the home loan or some loan. They claim it's the first time did ever in the history using the blockchain for approval of the loan and distributed the loan. I did not know the detail. So question for you, how do you think about it? And how do you think about the future of using blockchain for the loan?
You mean the 贷款?
Yeah.
Okay, so that has a very bright future. However, that will be controlled by the Chinese government and not private enterprises. And I would be very surprised if this company were allowed to do that unregulated. I'm very suspicious of that because I know that the Chinese government is just not going to let. You got to recognize that Alipay and WeChat Pay had no security up until most recently. You got to understand that Alipay and WeChat Pay are third party, 第三方，就是手机支付平台, right? They had 10 years, almost 10 years, that they did not have to take the assets of the consumer and put it in escrow in a bank. They essentially took the money that they got from all their subscribers and they played around with that money. And that's a very dangerous thing. The Chinese government is not going to allow Alipay and WeChat Pay to do that again. They now have a tight control of M1 of the or M0 of the money supply in these third-party payment platforms. It's not going to be like before. And they're not just going to get free access to this so-called future digital currency, this DCEP, 所谓的那个主权数字货币. They're not going to get that access. So I would be very surprised if it's a bank like these ICBC, then I think it's possible. Because ICBC is a state, it's not a private bank. I'd be surprised if it was 招商银行, because that's a private bank, technically. Everything is controlled by the Chinese government, as you know. But if it's a bank controlled by the Chinese government, then it is possible under the guidance of the Central Bank of China, China Union Pay, because remember, all this technology goes through China Union Pay's servers. If that is the case, then I would think, yes, it is possible that this service exists. But if you're talking about some small bank, no way, no way.
Thank you. The startup I mentioned actually is in Silicon Valley, nothing related to mainland China. I will follow up with you offline later on, and we can talk about it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let me see if I can go to other people who have questions. Let me see. We have, okay, you've asked a question. Oh, come on, people. 不要那么害羞啊. No other questions?
Yeah, Karl, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking of the blockchain. I always think of one thing. You mentioned a lot of things about security and just for privacy. So I'm thinking of one thing, maybe in one word to say is a TPS question. So I'm thinking is that we always have a balance between security and the speed. As we see, as you mentioned before, we have a lot of applications in maybe autonomous driving or just for banking or also for some other intelligence wearable devices. So I'm thinking of the thing like if we have all of the informations, all of different applications, and also different domains, how to handle, I think you already considered about is how to handle, the concern, what your thought about, how to balance that thing, secure and speed.
Right. So if you think about it, the Chinese government has been working on blockchain or this digital currency, which it uses the blockchain. They've been working on that for about 6 years. There is a problem in that a company like Alipay or WeChat Pay sending so many transactions per second, let's say during Chinese New Year, 你要送那么多红包, 对不对? It is a problem if you're going to try to depend on the blockchain as it exists now from various Western vendors. However, I have been told that the Chinese have figured out the technology where they can send a much higher frequency of transactions per second than any Western bank. So they built in technology with the blockchain that doesn't exist outside of China, or so I have been told, because as you know, it can take, I believe, something like 10 minutes or 9 minutes to write a block into a blockchain on a normal basis. And that is really very, very slow. When you're talking about using crypto, a crypto-like digital coin inside China, it's just too slow. It's the same thing with, it's really the same thing with going into a subway using your, so think of it like this. In China right now, I enabled the NFC technology. I was the first person to push that technology to all the smartphone manufacturers. And that technology is in nanoseconds, and it works very, very good. The London Underground uses NFC technology. You can use your smartphone to scan the turnstile in the subway. I'm trying to use an analogy here, right? 一个类似的那个一种类似的那个比例，一个比较哈。So if I use barcode and I go into the subway system in China, and I'm in Shanghai, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I have to depend on using my barcode and a scanner to scan the turnstile to get into the subway. Well, if you know anything about technology, an optical scanner, there's no way that it has latency. There's no way that an optical scanner coming from a smartphone can perform the acceptable speed that an NFC chip, master and slave, can perform with an NFC chip in the smartphone and an NFC chip in the turnstile, the reader of the turnstile in the subway. It's nanosecond. I have been in subways in China where the barcode didn't scan, and the lady's trying to scan the barcode to get in the subway. What a disaster. She's backing up the line. And so equate that with the problem with the blockchain and the latency. It's almost the same. Now, Lord knows what kind of technology the Chinese say that they've developed to overcome this issue with the blockchain. And because I can guarantee you, if they're using it for DCEP, they're going to use it for other blockchain use cases, guaranteed. So accordingly, the Chinese government has advanced technology to implement blockchain in a very efficient manner. That's all I can tell you, because that's all, that's all anybody knows right now, I believe.
Yeah, cool. So I'm thinking that everything you say is pretty makes sense. So I'm thinking one of the things that do we possibly has our concerns for to leverage the security from the 0 to 10 or something like that for current usage?
So just understand that when you're talking about blockchain and IoT, you're talking about the connectivity, which has to go from the edge where the module and the device are into the cloud, and then into an IoT attestation server to do something, and then into the blockchain. It can't happen in 1 nanosecond. I mean, it takes time. It just takes time. So that's why most of the applications now are in what we call proof of concept phase. We are in 9 different proof of concept phases in China with 9 different vendors. But some of those vendors have gone past proof of concept and have actually adopted the technology. And I'm going to give you one use case of the blockchain being used right now in heavy usage. And you might not think this is heavy usage, but it is heavy usage. So when you live in China, as you know, everyone runs out of battery power with their, especially if they have an iPhone. Well, they run out of battery power. As you know, there are these power bank, like bread box devices everywhere in China to recharge your cell phone, whether it's an iOS, iPhone, or Android operating system smartphone. Now, they have already added the blockchain and IoT to these bread box looking power bank machines. So when you scan a QR code what is it doing? It's going out and checking to see if you have money in your debit card account or credit card account. Then what is it doing? It's creating a smart contract. It's tracking your every move. If you do not return that power bank within 24 hours, they debit your credit card or debit card. You now own that power bank. They know exactly how long you've used it. They know exactly when you used it because they're using IoT modules remotely to track those power bank boxes, and also using the blockchain in real time to determine how you're using it, if you've returned it or not. They will be able to tell you. You might say, oh, I did return it. And they're going to say, no, you didn't, because we're monitoring all these power bank boxes with IoT modules and the blockchain. You did not return it. You own it. Sorry, we're deducting 100、200人民币从你的借记卡，我们要零钱，我们要领100到200块钱。So you see, this is another cool use case of the blockchain. And you might think, well, that's not high usage. That is high usage, because you're just looking at your one restaurant where you may have 10 people using the power bank to charge. Just think about these power bank companies. They might have 100 of these devices all throughout 100 different restaurants in Shanghai. That bandwidth is going to be quite extensive. You know, utilizing these all over China. You think about all over China and how many people are charging their cell phones with these power banks. It's huge. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So let me add another question, if you don't mind. So
yeah.
So if you mention for like this, I'm thinking also maybe thinking of the more like the future and then more bigger vision, bigger scope. So when you think of this, you mentioned for the IoT, blockchain, and AI. So when you think about blockchain, is that a kind of a better substitute or just a supplement to our current systems?
Actually, as I said before, the biggest problem with IoT devices is when they're so small, it's difficult to add security. It's really, really difficult. So if you have no security, how do you have any trust? So then now you have data that's not real, or data that can't be authenticated, so it can't be monetized. So you think a bank, an insurance company is going to invest? No, they're not. So the security helps with the monetization of the data. So 你的安全帮助你的赚钱的能力，因为你的隐私，你的安全很重要的，但是你的数字，如果不能相信你的数字 ，if you can't guarantee the data, then you can't trust it and you can't make money off it. I'm going to give you another example. In Inner Mongolia, 内蒙古现在有很多那个牛场There's cow farms, and they have cows for two purposes. One is to get milk. Another one is to take the cow's meat and just slaughter the cows. So they have these in Inner Mongolia. That's where the cows are. You don't see cows running around Shanghai. They're always in remote regions in China, as you can imagine. So what they do is they add these cellular IoT modules to the cows. So every single cow, they want to determine if the cow is healthy, if the cow is happy. If the cow is happy, it's going to give more milk. If the cow has been fed well, it's going to give more milk. If the cow is managing their diet well, they can monitor all those things with a cellular IoT module. Okay, so they can do that just with IoT, and they don't really need the blockchain for that. But why do they still need the blockchain? Because you can't guarantee the milk is healthy unless it's monitored constantly. You can't guarantee that that farm is not going to go bankrupt and dump all the milk on the side of the road. You see? So that's why in the sharing economy, the insurance company invests in giving insurance to the cow farm, the bank invests in giving money so they can grow their cows and buy more cows. And the blockchain company is involved in providing real data. And this is all a consensus of enterprise blockchain partners who are all partnered to make money and monetizing the data because they know that the data is real. This is a great use case to determine that if that cow is not healthy, why am I investing in this farm? Do you see the point here that I'm trying to make, which is it's all about making sure that the data is real. When the data is known to be real, then I can make other different types of, I can make money in the sharing economy and other kinds of industry 4.0. I can make money because I can take the data and make money off of the data. This is exactly what Google, Amazon, Facebook, well, maybe not Amazon. I don't want to get too sensitive with Amazon, but this is what Google, Facebook, and Twitter are doing. They're monetizing your data and they're not telling you about it. Well, the blockchain helps various industries to take that same data and add monetary value. There's no difference between what Facebook, Google, and Twitter are doing. And do you get the point? There's no difference. They are monetizing your data, and it's you know, and that's the key point. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yes, you're right. I think one of the big difference from the centralized and decentralized system is they are naturally have the trust. That's the most big difference. And we are apply the intelligent solution, intelligent system that will make that much more smarter and much more like trustful and useful. And that's definitely true. So yeah, so I think because we already ran roughly about 2 hours. So if anyone have any questions, so we may have you know, not much time for the questions.
Yes. So I think we had a few interesting questions. Please understand, I have been doing public speaking on cool technologies for almost 20 years. You can find more than 200 of my videos on YouTube. You can find more than 100 of my videos on Youku. That makes me the top mobile technology public speaker between the East and the West, I think, in the world today on mobile technologies. And I'm always very honest with what I say. I'm not a genius. I'm not even an engineer. I'm just a lucky guy who speaks Mandarin and is at the right place at the right time. God knows I have no idea why I'm always at the right place at the right time to push these cutting edge technologies, but I just feel it's my yuan fen, you know? So I want to thank everybody. But if you want to see many of my videos there and webinars, they're all on YouTube and also Youku. So I've got lots of them there. There's lots you can see. You can also contact me on LinkedIn directly, and you can talk to me about your use case. But I do appreciate everyone's time tonight. I know it's been long. Oh, we have one more question. We have one more question. How can you see my message? Well, Holly, just 1 second, Holly, because can you hear me, Holly? Just give me a second here.
Is Holly?
Yeah, let me go to Holly. She seems, well, I don't see Holly on the attendees.
He's already left.
Yeah, well, okay, she's gone.
Yeah, she's gone.
So let's get this public speaking presentation edited, and let's get it somewhere on a website so people can enjoy it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if you would like to sharing that, we can also reach out to our emails. You can just try to contact us through admin@seattlestartup.org, and then we can help to send you the slides.
So if there are no more questions, I want to wish everybody a fantastic social distancing Saturday. I will be playing softball on Sunday, social distancing softball. I'll be wearing a mask and playing softball down near SeaTac, a softball pickup game. Life is getting back to normal, and life is returning to normal everywhere in the world. And let's thank goodness that that is happening, because we all need that. We all need to get back to some kind of normal life. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. And I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate the Seattle Entrepreneurs Club for allowing me to have this time. I hope it's been interesting for everybody.
Yes, thanks, Karl. I think also is as you mentioned about Yuanfen, I think also it's a very good Yuanfen for everyone to meet you tonight. Yeah, and thanks for the great sharing. And I hope everyone enjoyed our sharing tonight. And also, if everyone was interested to contact Karl or for all of the more information about Karl, please, you can reach out to us for admin@seattle-startup.org. And please follow us WeChat and newsletters. If you have any question, ping me as well. So hope you guys enjoy the night. Wish you have a wonderful night and great weekend. And thanks everyone. And thanks, Karl.
Thank you. All right, let me close.